Hey guys, it's Lexi. Welcome back to another video. Today, I don't know if you guys are into makeup or if you've heard the news, but Natasha Denona finally released her pastel palette, and I am so excited. I love pastel eye makeup. Those are like my favorite colors. I like them in a lot of different finishes, but I have been waiting for like the pastel palette to come, of my dreams to come out to buy. That was like an object that I wanted for its own sake, not just for the makeup. And what I mean by that is like, I've got like a Gucci palette. It's a covetable object in and of itself. Another brand I love is Eyeshadows, or, you know, Natasha Denona, where the palette itself is like covetable. And I've been waiting for a pastel palette from a like covetable, like fancy brand that does not have neutrals in it, because I'm not a neutral girl. And Natasha Denona finally just released her pastel palette. There were like leaks about it like a month ago. We've all been waiting, and it looks so amazing, but I'm not gonna buy it. So I've been waiting for that, and I didn't want to settle for a pastel palette from like a brand that, you know, a lot of brands make those types of palettes, but I didn't want to like spend $30 on something. So I like have picked up little like pastel singles and some Colourpop stuff here and there. And so I have enough like pastels to wear what I want on my face most of the time. So I was like saving that space in my vanity and, you know, like my possessions for like that one palette. But in the meantime, I bought these like cheap ones because I wanted something. And now I'm realizing that like, why should I go spend the money on an expensive palette when I already have, I think, like most of the stuff to do it. Plus I'm on a little bit of a no buy right now. Well, my husband and I are like saving up for stuff. So today I'm going to dupe the palette, and it's going to be an overhead video. I'm going to dupe the palette of the Natasha Denona pastel palette. And so I'm going to go through all my singles using all of my palettes that have singles and palettes that have like removable pans, like the Colourpop ones. I'm hoping that once I dupe it out today with my singles and stuff, that I'll realize that I don't need it. So that is what I'm going to do today, and I can't wait to get started. Okay, here we are with all of my eyeshadows that are either from a palette where they can be depotted, or you know, this is my container of singles. So let's get started. I'm going to put a picture of the pastel palette up here, and there also are some official swatch photos. And I'm just going to try to dupe this as closely as I can. I know that some YouTubers I watch, like Hannah Louise Poston, do more of like a duping the vibes, but I like the way Lauren May Beauty does it, where she's just straight up actually trying to dupe the palette, because it is this complete palette that I want, not just like a pastel look or whatever. I already know there's going to be a couple situations where I don't have anything that matches, but like, what can you do? Oh well, right? But so yeah, let's just go through one by one. I'm going to open all these up and lay them out so that I can see them, and so like I really have a good idea. I don't have a mid-size magnetic palette that's going to fit this, so I think what I'm going to do is just kind of put them down here. Like once I decide what I want in the palette, I'm just going to like put it down here. And as I move them up here, there'll be more space down here to make the palette. I know some of you that like to have things arranged are probably dying inside at the way my singles are, but that is what happens when you have singles from many, many different palettes that you have depotted. Like, can we just say, like, I already know I'm going to get most of them from there. Okay, so here we go. That first is a mid-tone pink, and it's kind of peachy, kind of warm. That's gonna be pretty straightforward. I think, well, let me see. This is kind of a bluish tone. I think we're gonna end up going with more of a bluish tone, just because that's what I have. I literally don't have like a peachier pink. Although I think I think that would really like actually add a lot of like interesting color to the palette that I don't have, but I can't help that. So I'm just gonna go, is this a shimmer? Oh, that's a shimmer. We might need that. It's gonna be, oh my gosh, what? How did that just happen? What's happening, guys? I was so excited this time to be like, yes, I know my Colourpop palette is magnetic, and now it's like something's wrong. It's like sliding. What? How did that happen? I never take this anywhere. Okay, guys, give me a second. Okay, so this is a like sparkle matte. It's not right. It's not right. Actually, maybe this is closer. This has more of that, like a little bit more of a warmer. Oh, but it's really dark. And I've got the swatches, and I feel like, oh, it's really hard to tell what is what. Yeah, I think we're gonna save this for elsewhere in the palette, and I'm gonna go with, oh, that's really dark. What about this? This is not light enough. You guys, this is gonna be harder than I thought. Let me see. See, that's just straight up orange, and it's kind of dark. Shoot, 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 shoot. This actually is more, it looks kind of red in the pan, but in practice, it's like a salmon-y color. This is definitely one that's one of the more challenging colors. I think I'm gonna go with this. It's got that slight, it's a little bit too dark, but it's got that slight warm tone. What about this? No, 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 we're saving that. Okay. Next up is a pastel mint called Brisk, I believe, and that is really easy. That's just like, that's the shade I wore on my wedding day. That's wonderful and easy. Now, this next one is the one that I've actually been like stumped about. I know I don't have anything. This over here is kind of lighter, but it's too like grungy. This is really bright, and I don't like this shade in the bottom left hand corner is called Limoncello, and it's like the one color that I like feel like I most covet from the palette, and I don't have it. So let me try to combine some, and we might do like a 2-for-1, like the 2 shades equal to 1. What if we did a white sparkly not great shade over with the yellow over it? Does that, and maybe some, like, what if we mixed this yellow from Urban Decay with white? What do you guys think? It's not quite what it should be. This is the best I'm gonna do. So we're gonna do a 2-fer on this one. We're gonna do white and yellow. This is already not turning out well, but we're gonna struggle through. Okay, the next one is an iridescent shade, and it's like a pink and blue duochrome. So I actually have a bunch of options for that. So I think that, oh shit, that just broke. You guys, I'm not great at getting these Colourpop shades out of these plastic palettes. I freaking hate these plastic palettes. I love this cardboard. Okay, we have a couple options on this, and I'm gonna include this glitter. I think this glitter is actually the best color. And we also have this here. Okay. So this is a Natasha Denona shade, and it's like this really pretty, I don't know, there's no iridescence to it. It's pretty, but there's no iridescence. Maybe I should zoom you guys in a little more so you can see the swatches better. There's pretty, do you see that there, guys? There's no iridescence, so I'm gonna say no on that. Gosh, every time I take these out, they like lose pieces. What's happening? Okay, and then I think this glitter, I know people don't like this glitter. It's bad for the environment. They are correct. I can't even defend it. I wear it though, but I'm just careful when I take it off. So there's that. Then there's this blue shade. It has a blue pink flip. It's really piecey. This one is also from the In A Trance palette. So right now, I think this is gonna sound, this should seem like a no-brainer. Like this is the right shade. It's got that blue pink flip. We've also got this one though. I think that this one, ooh, you guys, it's hard. All of these would like fit the bill, but this one adds like a texture to it that I don't think I could get. And this one has seen a lot of use. And this one I don't ever use because it's exactly like my highlighter from Kaleidos. Like it's the exact same color. So I usually just use the highlighter because it's like a nice big pan. And, but for now, I think I'm going to go with the glitter just to like keep it mixed up. Okay, next we've got this shimmery, kind of darker teal. And once again, I'm not really seeing a good analogy for that, except for maybe, see now I want to use this color, but then I'm seeing another shade in the center row that I think would be closer to this. I think that this is more of a bright teal that's happening. Yes, it's called Adriatic. I think it's more of a blue than a green, so than a mint. So I don't think that this would be appropriate. I have, the thing is I know I have shades in palettes that would work for this, but I want to try to avoid that. So my contenders here for a blue shimmer are from the Alter Ego palette. This is, I think, color-wise decent, but I think depth-wise, I mean, this is a really dark shade, right? Oh, actually, you know, I could use this for the mint in the middle column and then use this. I think that between the two, they offer enough difference. So yeah, let's do that. I want to do that. I knew going into this that I was definitely going to be using this little guy from the what's it called? The Animal Crossing. So I'm just going to preemptively kind of put that there. That's so dark though, you guys. I don't know. Okay, what about this? This is another glitter, but this one has like a silver base instead of an iridescent base. I kind of like that. You know, if I did that here, I think that this, I don't feel like that's just a little too dark. And I feel like if I put this here, but then change this glitter out for an actual iridescent. Okay, so I think there we are with that. Okay, the next one is really exciting. And it's funny because now that I'm breaking it down, so much of this is not actually pastel and it's colors that I don't have. I thought that I was gonna be able to completely dupe this out, but that is not turning out to be the case. And I'm finding a lot of the only things that I have are like legit glitters, which is kind of crazy. The next one I have is a pink shimmer called Duet. I believe that's supposed to be a duochrome. It's showing as a duochrome and this is perfect. It says it's a duochrome on the website, so this is a perfect fit right here. This is from the Kristen Leanne Stay Gold palette, and I think that this is like a perfect choice. It's a little dark, but it has this beautiful blue flip to it, so I think that that's like a perfect choice. The next one is Mint Frost, and we have that here. I'm still not 100% convinced that I shouldn't use this shade from here. I think it adds like a little bit of something, but it might, I love the undertone. It's just a little too dark. So I think I'm going to stick with this for now. And gosh, the next shade is something else. I feel like I don't really have a good, I thought that I could dupe this. You guys, I went into this thinking this was going to be kind of a boring video and then it was just going to be bloop, 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 bloop. And I am finding this really hard. And this palette does not have as many straight pastels as I thought it would. This is a red shimmer. This looks a lot like the red that is in the Darth Vader palette that just came out. Like a little bit lighter, but not really. What about this glitter? Why are the glitters the only things I'm finding that match? Oh, ooh. I don't want to use a glitter though, you guys. So I think color-wise, the best we're going to do is this, which is not doing too well. It's kind of old. It's kind of dusty. I got this. This is an old MAC shadow. And I think color-wise is going to be the best. It's not a shimmer, but I'm also putting in some other texture in other places where it wasn't asked for, you know? So I think it's going to be okay. That shade is called Starlet. The one below it is called Airy. And I have two choices. I think obviously it's going to be between this blue and this blue from the In A Trance palette. I think to be more accurate to the palette, it's like somewhere in between. I should go, I guess, with this blue, but I don't know. I feel like this palette is already ending up a lot darker than I thought it would be. So it just really brings it down in dark, you know? So I think I'm going to go with the lighter one just to balance out the depth of the palette as a whole. Am I the only one that like actually destroys their shadows every time they depot them? At least I'm not cutting up the palette like the last time I did something like this, guys. Okay, so that is in there. And then let's go back to the top. We've got this really pretty one called Bora. That's like a grapey purple. And I think I want to go with this shade from the Natasha Denona Lila palette, which let me pull up into frame a little bit better. And I feel like it's the right undertone. It's a little too dark. Let me swatch it against some other alternatives. So I have to say, I have mixed feelings about this Lila palette. I feel like the only reason I haven't gotten rid of it is for like 2 or 3 of the shades. But when I swatch it, it's really pretty. It's just one of those palettes I never reach for because I don't use any of these warm mattes. And when I think of the palette, all I think of is like, I can't use half of it. It's should not have bought it, but at least I only paid like $45 for it or something like that. Okay, my other option, I think this is a really warm purple, and that would be the other option. That's just too much depth. I think, and then we have this guy over here. And that's also too cool tone, and it's like a duochrome type of deal. It's too, I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna stick with this one. And then below that is a soft orange matte, and that is called Bellini, I think. This would be like a peach, and I think that this is a no-brainer. This is a really easy one. And then, ooh, the favorite, Zest. And these two options are nearly identical. They're both Urban Decay. They're technically like ever so slightly different, but you could not tell. So I'm just gonna go with this one for the size fitting better, it being in the middle of the palette like that. And then we're to the last row. Okay, so we've got Dainty, which is a pink. This last row I feel like is the most straightforward. There's no curveballs. We've got Dainty. We've got a periwinkle called Bubble right there. And we've got a blue toned pink Heather. Now, actually, that one on the top, that Dainty, what do I have anything in here? What about this? Just because I feel like if I did just very straight, oh shit, you guys, I'm like ruining them. Look at that. I suck at this. I actually might think about adding this in because this is just going to be a video of me gouging chunks out of my eyeshadows. This is why I never actually, I love the idea of magnetic palettes, but I never actually take them out of their palettes. Okay, so between these last two, Dainty and Heather, there is a lot of overlap. If you look at the picture of the swatches, oh, it's Feather. I wasn't reading it right. I thought it said Heather. Dainty and Feather, yeah, they're really similar. One's just shiny and one's not. So how shiny is this one? Crown Chakra, I believe, in terms of where they go in the palette. Okay, so that's got a decent amount of shimmer. And then we've got, this is an old Urban Decay one. It says it's called Paranoia, which I kind of like. It's like I like the idea of using up an old. This is good. It just is a little bit grungy. Little bit, like very slightly, and I like the brightness this brings to the palette. But then it's almost identical to this other one, and realistically in the swatches it looks that way too, but the fact that this one is a matte with sparkle means that I'm kind of repeating, like it's also kind of sparkly, like next to each other on the hand. There's just a lot of overlap, and I feel like it doesn't bring me anything to the palette to have this. Both of these, it's just kind of repetitive. So what else do I want to put in there? I feel like I almost want to just make this one Feather and then find something like really sparkly to put up there. Like, how are we feeling about bringing this Natasha? I didn't even use these. I brought these out because I thought maybe I would use like this green or maybe that, but I should have known better. I don't even know. I'm just gonna like put these away. So let me see, what about this one from the Natasha Denona palette? This is Juno. Like, what does that bring to the table? You know what? I think that brings something different to the table. I have to say, for something about Natasha Denona's metallics, they're like very metallic, but not like, I want to say like there's not an element of like sparkle to them. There's something missing for me. But this is an older palette, and I know that her formulas changed a lot. What I like about her palettes is that they'll often have like different formulas. So even to like a cream to pot, like a lot of differentiation in the formula. It's not just like shimmers and mattes. It's like shimmers, mattes, creams to powder, or whatever. Okay, so and I feel like I'm just realizing there's no purple in this palette. There's no light purple in the palette, except the periwinkle. So it's a very like pink and green palette, which is pretty cool. I think my biggest fails right now are this red in the middle, which is just like, no, I don't know. Let's swatch it out. I'm gonna put everything else away. Oh, actually, you guys, what about this other Natasha Denona shade? I did not even think about that. That one is called Pure, whatever. Pure. Okay. And let's swatch that. Is that going to be, ooh, see, now that's got a lot of orange in it. Let's swatch it out, actually. I'm going to keep this set aside, and I'm going to clean up my hand, and then I'm going to swatch the whole thing for you guys. Okay, so taken out of the context of the rest of my tray, I'm looking at this and I'm like not really happy with it. So I think I do want to do some swap outs. Number one is that I do think I want to put this guy in, and so I'm going to move this over here and this here, and I think I'd like that a lot better. Number two is that I'm just not feeling this blue. It's coming across as like, I already have a white, I have this. I just really want something that's like more definitively blue. So I'm gonna swap out for Transcendence. I think the blue that I have in the Gucci palette is actually like perfect for that color, but that's not removable, and that's like not the assignment today. So we're just trying to focus on stuff that I can swap out. And then the other thing that's like, there's a couple of the things that are like as a whole giving me a problem. So I was thinking about, what if I included this? I feel like I'm doing a lot of glitter, but now I have no glitter. So what if I did this instead of this? Oh, I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's looking very muddy and not very bright. So unfortunately, although this does give me a little bit of variety in the palette, I think I would rather go for having a metallic and a matte pink, because I do use both interchangeably. So I think that, oh no, this would be, is this considered the matte? No, that's considered the shimmer. They both are kind of sparkly. I think that I actually want to try to go, I don't know why I didn't think of this one before. I think that one is better there. And then, so the last thing would be deciding if in that lower corner I wanted like that or that. Let me see these two next to each other. I kind of forget that I have this one. This is called Mind's Eye. Oh yeah, that's a nice addition to the palette. Okay, so it's purple. It's a little bit more purpley than I think the original is, but I think that that will go better with the vibe of the palette. And then let me see which one I like better with it. We've got this. It's a matte with sparkle. I know some people say that they don't like that, but I don't know, I like them. And then with this pink shimmer. So, ooh, gosh, they really are like interchangeable, aren't they? I think I'm going to go with the matte just because I have a lot of other sparkles and shimmers in this palette. Okay, what else am I seeing as like glaring flaws? This thing in the center, I really don't know what to do about that. I feel like if you look at the swatch photos, it really is like a really shiny metallic red. I was thinking of just swapping this out, but it's so orange. Like the purpose of this was to bring a red. Well, what if I brought in this? I know that's not technically what it should be, but I feel like because I have this one is darker, these two are both darker than what I'm trying to dupe out. Having that in there just like really brings the palette down a road I don't want to go down. So even though this is closer color-wise, I think that this finish is better. Well, unless I do that, what do you guys think? This has a, let me see. It's just so brown. And then this has a lightness to it. Gosh, I wish I do have that red sparkle. Maybe I will end up doing that after all. I keep like doing everything but that. It just has a brown to it. It just has a brown to it that I don't really want to bring into the palette. Okay, yep, that's what I'm going to do. I think that this is my palette, and now I'm going to swatch it all out. Okay, another last minute change out. I don't think there's enough pink in this for my taste, so I am gonna go with this old one from the Kristen Leanne Stay Gold palette. It has a, I just like it, and also it's like a twofer, so I just feel like I would enjoy using this more. It's not showing up on camera, but that's because it is a totally translucent shade. Okay, what do you guys think? There's the whole thing swatched out, and we can compare it to Natasha's swatches. It is not the same. You know, it's not the same. I also did that thing where you start too close to the end and then you run out of room, like when you're making a sign, but like whatever. It's not the same. Doing this exercise also made me realize that this palette is not as pastel as I thought of it as being. There is actually quite a few like more mid-tone shades than I think I realized. I still am like thirsting for that limoncello color in the bottom left-hand corner. So I think I might maybe after my no buy actually just buy the Jubilee mini. There's a ton of them being sold on Poshmark just to pick up that limoncello shade. But like, I don't know. I feel like this was being creative with what I already have, and I like that. I do also have a specifically yellow glitter that I could top that with if I really wanted a little bit of sparkle. Like the original shade is a shimmer. But I don't know, I actually just like it being a soft yellow. And this also made me realize that some of my shades are probably starting to go off, like this one, which was from a palette I got in 2014. So yeah, it makes sense. And that some of these other ones are just swatched like a dream. So I feel like that is the brief. That's my palette. And I'm really excited with this little guy. And I wish that I had a mid-sized palette to sort of like put this in, but that's okay. I'm going to make room in my main big palette over here and just sort of I usually kind of have this folded up to the side of where my makeup is, and maybe I need to put this more in the middle out with my other palettes so that I see it and remember to use my singles. So you guys, and there she is in my kind of dusty and dirty single shade holder. And there. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!